Good morning from the Mackinac Policy Conference. I'm Jeremy Allen, the executive editor of the Michigan Chronicle, here with David Jurcak, the president of operations at the Grand Hotel. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great to be here. How are you feeling today?
Feeling great. We had an incredible start yesterday. Seeing everybody arrive, go through registration, the parties last night. It was a fantastic day.
Talk a little bit about all the preparation that goes into hosting the state's largest policy conference.
So we've worked, we've hosted it for 44 years now. So we began working for next year's in about 3 weeks.
Wow.
Looking at room blocks, and this year we're going to open up registration a little bit earlier for the policy conference. They're opening up this week for 25.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start putting in room blocks in and start thinking about, all the different parties we can do. And then when our staff comes back in April for the beginning of the season, we already are talking about the policy conference.
Wow. So there's a lot that happens though between when the staff leaves and when they come back, and part of that is the there's a major kind of overhaul to certain parts of the property here. Talk a little bit about what's going into upgrading and taking the Grand Hotel into the next century.
Okay. So unlike most places in the country, we can only do construction from November to April 15th, November 1st, April 15th. So we cram in a lot of work in a very short period of time. It's not ideal construction weather to do it, but we do it because that's the only time. So we started a restoration of the front porch where we're sitting today. 2 years ago, we finished our second phase. So you'll see behind us this wood that's behind us this year. We scraped all the wood down, all the paint off. In some cases, we had a 1/4 inch thick chunks of paint, which
just
were
layers on layers.
of 80 and 90 years of paint.
Mm-hmm.
Scraped all that off and repainted it as a restoration project. And then we've taken on the other side our columns down and refinished the columns, and we'll flip-flop next year. We'll do the inside on that side, the west side, and the columns of the east side. And so it's a 5-year project.
Okay. Everything about this conference gets people excited all across the state. What gets you excited for this conference?
I dabbled in politics for a little bit. I've been all over the United States working. And I'm proud of the Michigan delegation, both our national delegates as well as our state representatives and all of our state officials all come together and are on this porch last night, where we'll be in the parlor tonight, and they're accessible to business people. They want Michigan, and they want Detroit to be better and Michigan to be better, and they've all got a hand in it. And that doesn't happen in other states. You just don't see it.
Right.
What I love about this island and having this event, you can't go home. So you can't get in your car and drive and leave the event and go home and then come back the next morning or go to the office. You're kind of captured. And it's good. It's going to be good for Detroit and good for the state.
That's one of the great things about the Mackinac Policy Conference. It's that so many of the elected officials from around the state, so many of the business leaders from around the state are so accessible to folks, and we get to sit down with people like you to kind of tell your story a little bit about what's happening and what's going on to continue to move Michigan forward and make the state great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you get to see Senator Peters and Senator Stabenow were feet apart last night. I turned around, was talking to Senator Stabenow, I turned around and bumped into Senator Peters. In about 3 minutes, I spilled my agenda to 2 of our most powerful senators in the state. It was pretty outstanding. And that's everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can get a lot of stuff done in a short period of time.
That's excellent. So what's next for the Grand Hotel after the conference is over? Once these thousands of folks leave the island, what's kind of next for the Grand Hotel this season?
Really, the next 1,000 people arrive to the island. So we're heading into Lilac Festival Week, which is a big celebration for the island, and then the summer kicks off. And so we have incredible promotions and opportunities for people to stay at Grand Hotel and celebrate really Mackinac Island and Americana. Mm-hmm. But also we have wine weekends, we have superhero weekends, one of my favorite events that we have. And then we culminate at the end of the season, or really in the fall, with a Cork and Fork event. It's a food and beverage event, or food and wine event, celebrating women in culinary.
Talk a little bit about, you came in shortly after the pandemic. And so there was, a new sort of way of interacting with folks. What's it been like for the Grand Hotel and for you in the time, in the few years since, we've kind of emerged from the pandemic?
Sure. So in 1887, we were built. The idea was people that came out of cities that were crowded and hot, and there was disease, and it was kind of miserable. back in 1887 in Chicago and Detroit and Cleveland. And people came here for the cool weather, the breezes, and the open air. And after the pandemic, the same people did. So we opened in June of 2020, and the island was busy. Unlike major metropolitan areas, people traveled to remote areas, and Mackinac Island was successful. 21, we saw a growth. 22, even bigger, and this will be a record year for the hotel. But it all goes back to the island. It goes back to the destination. Grand Hotel, we love being here. Obviously, we've been here for 137 years, but the island really brings people in.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking some time from your busy morning to speak with the Michigan Chronicle. We appreciate it, and we're looking forward to a great rest of the week.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Appreciate it.